January 2020 celebrated the end of my first year as a freelancer, and my second year as a freelancer was getting off to a fantastic start. I had lots of work, and when we got to March, I had not only hit my targets, but exceeded them by over 10%. April was already pretty much full. May was half full. And as a lot of my work comes in with 7 to 10 days notice, I was confident that April and May were going to be even better than March. In March, I presented the main stage at the Excel for the Hotel, Restaurant and Catering Expo, and on the main stage for the Bath Business Expo as well, which was the last physical event I did before lockdown hit. Now, I'm a physical face-to-face trainer and public speaker, so within 48 hours of lockdown being announced, I had no work for April and I had no work for May. Everything had emptied out of my diary, and that was obviously a little bit concerning. So as a freelance sole trader, I had no entitlement to any of the government support that was available at the time. So it was a case of adapting or dying, essentially, or my business dying. So as second the lockdown was announced, I started investigating online training platforms. I thought, I'm going to have to get some money for myself. I don't have any income coming in from the organizations that I usually work for. They were still gathering themselves and having to change the way they work. So I looked at Microsoft Teams, I looked at Google, I looked at Skype, and then I looked at Zoom, and I settled on Zoom. The £15 a month pro version of Zoom allowed me to run unlimited meetings for up to 100 people. It's a nice platform that was flexible, simple, and actually didn't mind a slightly dodgy internet connection. You don't need a really powerful internet for Zoom to run effectively. So on the 23rd, when lockdown actually started, I already on my Eventbrite page had a suite of courses that I developed, 90-minute sessions on things like social media, blogging, search engine optimization, and I put them out there. And I had my first webinar. I conducted my first ever webinar, having never done a webinar before this, on the 25th of March, just 2 days after lockdown hit. There was only one person on that course, but it got the ball rolling for me. And that was the important thing. I was ahead of the game, I'd adapted, and within 2 days, I'd got my first course out there. And over subsequent weeks, as much as the numbers never got particularly high, I was earning an income and I was delivering courses and getting used to this new way of training, which is markedly different from physical classroom-based or stage-based training. And it was getting me the skills I needed to compete in what was going to be an incredibly virtual world. So for me, I have to have a shout out to two organizations in particular that adapted very quickly and that I was able to work with. As Media Training in London, check them out, they are absolutely phenomenal. And Upskill Digital, another brilliant organization that has the contracts for Google Digital Garage and Lloyds Bank Academy. Media Training had 100 courses they delivered physically at their centre in London, which is a glorious venue. And they wanted volunteers to help them adapt those 100 courses to online courses. I volunteered. I also volunteered my experience of working with online platforms and was able to help them a little bit in the decision to move towards Zoom as a platform to deliver. I also worked with a small team of people to look at a few courses and get them online ready. And the great thing about that is not only was that good for me, it was a good exercise for me, but also I was then well placed to start delivering those courses when Media Training started delivering again, and they have absolutely nailed their online platform and are delivering a huge range of courses and lots of new courses, some of which I've developed and I'm delivering for them. Upskill Digital, the people I'd been doing the Google Digital Garage courses for before lockdown, put me onto the Lloyds Bank Academy. And Lloyds Bank Academy is a phenomenal phenomenal series of courses. They're free to anyone to attend, and they were designed to help businesses and individuals embrace digital to move themselves or their businesses forward. So it was employability as well as business training that we were doing. Also on a fantastic platform called DigiLeaders, which is without doubt, hands down, the best webinar platform that I have delivered on. I've delivered on over 8 of them now. So that was really good. I also started recording training videos. I got approached by Hertfordshire Growth Hub to provide 3 short training videos for them. So I kind of buffed up my editing skills, got a better editing suite, figured out how the green screen worked, and did those videos. And then that led to me delivering videos and producing training videos for Ambition Broxbourne and the Digital Innovation Zone. So I did 5 40-minute sessions on employability that are now on the Digital Innovation Zone's website. A very, very new skill for me, which involved me getting studio lights, understanding the green screen, really getting in, understanding how OBS works so I could have decent transitions and make it look as professional as possible, as much as it was in my front room with my laptop balanced on an ironing board, because it gave me the best eye line to be able to deliver to. A fantastic learning opportunity for me, and I was really proud of the results. And now, since then, I have been delivering webinar after webinar after webinar. I am now pretty much as busy as I was before lockdown. Now, it's a very different experience. There is a different suite of skills to delivering online. And it was all about adaptation. Now, I had been delivering to small businesses digital marketing training, but I could no longer rely solely on that because not enough work was coming in. So I drew on my previous experience, and now I'm doing remote leadership training. I'm doing remote management training. I am also back into doing employability training. I've done employability training for the Hertfordshire Adult Family Services, as well as the TUCO and for Lloyds Bank Academy. So I've had to draw on everything that I've done over the entirety of my career to create a suite of courses that I can offer to people to make sure that I'm keeping as busy as I possibly can. So it's very much drawing on my past to kind of secure a future and giving myself a much broader spectrum of delivery, which gave me a much broader spectrum of organizations that I could engage with. So who'd have thought that? And the ironic thing I find is that before the 25th of March, I had never done a webinar before in my life. I'd had done video conferencing and video calls, but I'd never sat down and done a webinar. And the thing I find completely insane is that now I deliver training to organizations and individuals on how to deliver training effectively on online platforms like Zoom. So that's a whole new avenue to explore for me, which I wouldn't have had we not been locked down in the first place, and I'd had to take my business to a far more online level. So the things for me to take away from 2020, as Ross Geller from Friends would say, pivot. I'm not doing what I was before lockdown. I've taken existing skills and I've pointed them in a new direction. As much as I'm still training, the training I'm doing is markedly different in terms of the skills, the concentration, the focus, the development that a normal physical course would have. But the fact of the matter is that, like I said earlier, adapt or die. We're in a situation now where I am fortunate in as much as I can continue to do the thing I love and I can continue to earn money, which has not been the case for many, many individuals out there. So as much as this has been a very difficult year, I consider myself to be very fortunate that I have been able to continue doing what I love and continue to support myself and my family. So what is 2021 going to bring for me? I have no idea. I think webinars are going to be a big part of what I do for the next 12 months. Certainly for the next 6, I don't consider myself or see myself being in a classroom or on a stage in front of other people. It is going to be a big feature of my business. And to be honest with you, I don't think it will ever go away. I think a lot of people have seen the value in using online means to communicate and online means to train. You know, it is so much more convenient. And I would imagine businesses are going to see this as a legitimate means to upskill and train their staff. So I don't see webinars going away at all. However, I do hope and believe that by the end of 2021, I will have at least once have had the opportunity to stand up on a stage like the Excel and deliver in front of a big crowd of people rather than having to stare fixedly at a webcam. I hope that 2021 brings all of you good health and happiness. Thank you very much for listening. Keep well, stay safe, speak soon.